It literally sounds like the plot of a Cold War suspense thriller, right? But what we're uncovering today is absolute, documented reality. We're looking at a highly classified, deeply unsettling chapter of history that was intentionally left buried in government shadows.
800,000 unsuspecting citizens, men, women, and kids, secretly sprayed with an invisible bacterial cloud by their own military. No warning whatsoever, no consent, just an invisible blanket falling over an entire major American metropolis. Let that sink in.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Chapter 1, The Invisible Cloud. So to understand how an entire city could just be enveloped without anyone raising the alarm, we actually have to look at the iconic San Francisco fog. Under the cover of that thick mist lay Operation Sea Spray. This was a secret 1950 military simulation of a biological weapon attack on a coastal American city. See, gripped by the terrifying fear of how a hostile foreign nation might drop biological weapons right on U.S. soil, the military high command needed to know exactly how vulnerable their coastal cities were. And to find out, well, they decided to stage a mock attack themselves.
Which brings us to Chapter 2, Operation Sea Spray.
Picture this. It's late September 1950, and Cold War paranoia is at its absolute peak. The waters off the California coast quietly become a clandestine testing ground. A vintage U.S. Navy vessel is deployed just outside the Golden Gate Bridge. It's equipped with these specialized, heavy-duty spraying nozzles, and it just starts pumping a thick, artificial mist directly into the dark, heavy Pacific fog banks that were naturally rolling right over the bridge and toward the shore.
So the crucial point here is 6. For 6 consecutive days, that ship pumped hundreds of millions of gallons of this bacterial strain directly into the coastal fog. I mean, that is an almost unimaginable volume of biological material just being continuously blasted into the city's atmosphere day after day.
And the delivery system was chillingly simple. Step 1, the bacteria is pumped right from those Navy ship nozzles off the coast. Step 2, it's seamlessly caught and carried by the heavy Pacific fog banks, literally utilizing nature as the perfect cover. And Step 3 is infiltration. The bacteria swept right into the ventilation systems of local schools, it coated the long, sterile hallways of hospitals, and was deeply inhaled by nearly everyone walking the streets. The simulation was, unfortunately, a terrifying success.
Moving on to Chapter 3, The Crimson Microbe.
Now, what's really interesting about this is what exactly the citizens were breathing in. The military expected this to be a completely harmless biological tracer, something deemed entirely safe by contemporary science. But the biological reality? It was a microbe called Serratia marcescens. Now, they chose this specific pathogen because of a unique genetic quirk. When grown in a lab, it multiplies into a vibrant, easily identifiable blood-red color. The military needed a way to track the invisible cloud, and this crimson hue was their twisted solution. To monitor the spread, military scientists actually disguised themselves as local health researchers. Under this cover, they took secret air and soil samples across the bustling city. Then, they'd retreat to dark, clandestine labs, examining glowing, bright red colonies as they bloomed in their petri dishes. They were meticulously mapping the exact landing zones of their bacterial mist.
Which leads us directly into Chapter 4, The Unintended Fallout.
So, the military definitively proved that a biological attack could easily cripple an American city. But here's the thing. The bacteria they deemed entirely harmless, it wasn't so benign. Within days of the massive spraying operation, a local hospital witnessed an unprecedented outbreak of severe, rare urinary tract infections. The citizens, completely oblivious to the military vessel lurking just off their coast, were now physically paying the price of the simulation.
Finally, Chapter 5, The 1977 Revelations.
Despite the immediate spike in severe infections, the curtain of secrecy was held tightly shut for decades. Military officials kept claiming the experiment caused no lasting harm. Let's trace how this unfolded. We start in September 1950 with the execution of the operation, followed rapidly by those immediate health consequences in late 1950. But it took 27 long years, all the way until 1977, for explosive congressional hearings to finally tear the lid off the secret operation. This naturally sparked a massive controversy over domestic military testing on unconsenting civilian populations.
The events we've explored today aren't just cold facts from 1950. They're a stark reminder of the vulnerability of everyday populations. When the desire to protect a nation leads to secretly treating its own citizens as test subjects, what is the true price of national security? It's a genuinely chilling question to ponder, and one that makes the crimson fog of Operation Sea Spray impossible to forget. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions and keep seeking the truth.